Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, people? What's going on, people? Let me know in the chat if you guys are active. What's going on, man? What's good, Mo? What's good, Mo? Please, if you're active and if you're here on the live, just let me know in the chat. Let's give a couple minutes for people to join in. What's good, Mo? Also live on IG as well. So if you cannot join in here, join in on IG. What's good, Cecilia? Hey, Ebony. Hey, Femi. Hey, Kemi. Seeing people joining on the live. What's going on? Guys, I'm about to get started. Let's give a couple minutes for people to join in and then I will get started. What time is it over now? 7 p.m. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Glad to see some people are joining in. Hey, guys, what's going on IG as well? So, you guys, I'm looking this way, but my chat is this way. So, if I'm looking left or right, just know it's because I'm checking both cameras. Let's give a couple more minutes. Let's say about 5-6 minutes. And then we'll get started. And then everybody else can join in whenever they join in. I see my people from Greenlee are here too. What's going on, guys? How's you guys' days going? If you're here and you're active, please just put something in the chat so I know you're active. We'll give about 2 more minutes and then I'll get started and everybody else can join in. Hey, Deja, what's going on? It's going good, guys. Now, my camera is about to fall. I'll move it up a little bit so that this doesn't affect us. Okay, guys, 1 more minute and I'll get started and everybody else can join in when they're here. Today, I'm showing you guys exactly how I flip properties with literally zero money out of pocket. How I do this over and over and over and over again. And then I have some exciting announcements as well that I'll be. So make sure you join in. If you haven't joined in on the webinar, make sure that you go through my stories. I'm sure the link is there somewhere. And you guys can join us here. 1 more minute and we will get started. I wish I can hear you guys as well. That would be really cool. But I really want this to be very active. I want people to participate. Hey, Jossie, what's up? I want people to participate. So if you have any questions for me, make sure you throw it in. Make sure you throw it in if you have any questions for me. Got 8 people active, and I think I'll get started now. If you're here on IG, If you want to just see the slide, you have to join in on the webinar, but I'll get started right now. And like I said, if anybody else joins in, then they can join in as well. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm pretty excited. If you're excited, please put in the chat who's excited to learn some of these strategies. These are things that you can actually go immediately and start applying by yourself right now. So if you're excited, let me just put in the chat, excited to learn. Guys, put excited to learn. Let me know that you guys are still active on here. Awesome, Deja. Awesome. Let me find my slide here. All right, guys, about to get started. Can you guys see the slide? If you can see the slide, let me hear you guys say I can see it, so I know that you guys are seeing it on your side as well. Can you guys see the slide? Awesome. Mo said yes. Awesome. So about to get started. Today, we're really talking about flipping 101, no money down strategy. This is a strategy that I have been using since last year to flip houses here in Cleveland, Ohio. Pretty excited because this is something that every one of us can use. This is something that I did with almost literally no experience flipping whatsoever. I just decided to throw myself in there, and it ended up turning out good. So I decided, you know what, why not share the strategy with everybody else out there to be able to start using as well. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Femi Daniel. Started investing in real estate in 2020. Started investing back in 2020, 22 now. So that would have been almost 3 years ago. That was when I was 19. But when I started, I didn't immediately get started flipping, as many of you know. I found other things that I was able to do so that I could get experience in the real estate industry before I jumped into flipping. But now what do? I specialize in no money down strategies, which is a strategy that I coined from, it's a strategy that's been existing before now, but I coined it as a no money down strategy because that was the only way I could get started flipping. I didn't really have the money or the luxury to be able to take money out of my pocket and just put into a house and watch it grow. I had to find creative ways that I could do the same thing. So in 2022, I was able to flip 4 houses with 0 out of pocket for a total of $605,000 in volume. That was the total value of the property. And also amongst that, I was able to do wholesaling. And for those of you that don't understand wholesaling, I would also explain that to you and what that typically involves. With 0 marketing dollars. I think that's the key thing here. A lot of my friends also do wholesaling, but the thing there is like they have to spend a lot of money into marketing so that they can get these deals. But with my strategy, I'm able to do the same thing that you're doing, buying properties, flipping it, and not spending any money on marketing. I think that's really important. What else? I raised over $200,000 my first year flipping. That was the total amount of money that I needed to put into these houses. And like I said, since it didn't come out from my pocket, I had to raise it from other people. And I'll break that down. This is going to be a pretty fast slide because I want to get to the question and answer so I can answer any questions you guys have. Currently, I'm focusing on turnkey rentals, multifamily rentals, and flips. Flips are something that I enjoy doing. So not only am I just doing something that earns me an active income, I'm also doing something that I enjoy. I will be getting into the rental game, but for right now, I'm just strictly focusing on flipping, and I want to do as many flips with every one of you as much as possible. My other passions outside of real estate involves fitness, bodybuilding. I enjoy learning about mindset stuff, personal development, and everything in between. So if you don't catch me learning about real estate, I'm pretty much going to be learning about any of those topics that I mentioned. Before I even go further, I want to explain the evolution of a typical real estate investor. Typically you start like me back in 2019 as a newbie. We're right here. We don't really know nothing about nothing, but we actively try to go out there and find opportunities, or we start gathering information. So that's the gathering phase. You can see here, you're still a prehistoric ape. But you're still in the process. You're trying to learn what to do. Eventually, you start going one of two routes. Either you decide to take this as a profession and become a realtor, or you eventually become a wholesaler. What's the difference between the two? A realtor is representing other buyers and sellers in the market so that they can make purchasing or selling decisions. But a wholesaler is typically looking for deals. We're working more on the investor side of things. We're finding off-market properties. That means properties that are not listed on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com or any of those places. We're looking for properties that fit those criteria and are typically good deals. What are good deals? These are deals that an investor can put their money into and either sell it for a profit or hold it as a rental and collect money after they pay all their expenses. So wholesalers help different investors. We look for these deals and we sell it to them, and we make a little spread in between. For example, let's say I find a deal that's $50,000. And I know that an investor to that property after it's fixed up is worth like 120,000. But I know another investor is going to buy it from me for about $60,000. Now I sell it to that investor for $60,000, and now I earn that spread in between. That spread is going to be worth like what, $10,000, and that gets paid out to me. So you can see like that's a quick way that you can make money. That's a lot of things that a lot of my friends do, but I'm also going to show you guys a way that you guys can go out and do this without really spending a lot of money on marketing, because that's the downside I see to wholesaling. You have to spend a lot of money marketing, whether by cold calling, advertising, whatever the case may be, so that you can generate leads. What's the next step after that? Eventually, most wholesalers start to put their money together, and guess what they start to do? They start to flip houses. That's the stage that I got last year. I was able to start putting this money together and start looking for flip. But guess what? I also had expenses because, unlike many people who do it the smart way and have something else on the side, I jumped headfirst into real estate. So my wholesale income was typically just going towards me earning a living and being able to pay my bills and everything. So while I was flipping, I had to find an alternative way that I could get started doing that. But that's typically the next stage. It's still pretty much active. You're trying to just buy a property for low, put some money into it to make it look nicer, and sell it to somebody who wants to live in the house, or you sell it to an investor. Whichever one, doesn't really matter. That's where rehabber is. Guys, if you're joining on IG and you can't see the slide, click on a few of my previous slides and join the webinar so you can see the slide. But I'll do my best to explain and pass over the information as much as possible. Next step is a landlord. This is, wherever you're renting for. How many of us in the chat, I don't know if you're renting right now, if you're in the chat and you rent from a landlord right now, or you pay rent, basically put it in the chat. Let me know our landlords versus our tenants. If you're in the chat, also on IG, if you're on IG Live too, if you rent, you typically know who your landlord is. These are people that buy properties. They find a tenant that can live in the house, and then they pay them rent. So they're earning cash flow while the property also appreciates. But then there's also this cool guy over here, a lender. There's a private lender. These are people that typically they do not want to actually own the property. They don't want to own the property, but they want their money to be guaranteed by the property. And you guys, as I go down this slide, you guys will understand who this guy is. And this is the important guy here. This guy is very important to our no money down strategy. Very, very important guy. As you can see, the two main people that have passive income are these two guys, because they do the job once and they get paid over time without any of their own effort. But these other three guys rely on these two guys to make an active income. Okay. There is no need to feel like, oh, I want to be, it's all a phase. You have to climb your way to get to these other two guys, the landlords or the lenders. So first you have to start from maybe a wholesaler or a rehabber. These are the two main strategies that I use to where I don't have to come out of pocket. I can just, leverage my effort and my knowledge, and I'm able to make money. The big picture goal. The only way for you to build an indestructible generational passive income is through your rental portfolio. You want to, somebody said it's paused. I can't see if it's paused. Is it paused for everybody here on the webinar? Oh no, okay. It's back active. But yeah, The big picture for you is for you to build a massive rental portfolio so that you are only, once you buy the property and you fix it up, you're getting that cash flow forever and you don't have to keep putting your time or your energy into the property. Okay. So that's the big picture goal. But before we get there, we have to build our capital reserves so that we can start buying these rental properties. And that's where the no money down strategy goes over. Okay. So on the agenda today, we're going to be talking about my three main case studies. These are three different ways I've structured my deals to where I don't come out of pocket for anything. And I'm able to flip properties consistently. Actually, even yesterday, I closed on four more houses that I'm going to be flipping. And all of this is still done with $0 out of my own personal pocket. So I think this strategy is really, really cool. We're also going to first briefly touch about mindset, because none of this is possible without the right mindset, to be honest, guys. You have to be in the right mindset to really understand how you can start flipping properties and also how to leverage other people's money. Because if you don't have the right mindset, you're going to think it's impossible. And whatever you think in your mind plays out in your own reality. Okay. That was the first thing I had to first get rid of, like, oh, I can't flip. I don't know what to do and all of that. I had to throw that to the side and instead go seek the knowledge, instead to educate myself and be willing to partner with others. That's another key thing. You have to be willing to break bread with other people. Okay, half of a watermelon is better than 100% of a grape. Okay, so if you're just focusing on yourself, more than likely you end up with something very little. But if you're willing to break bread with other people, you're willing to share whatever you have, share these deals, split the profit, you're going to be able to do so much more. And that's how I've been able to do it for myself. I'm always willing to break bread. Everybody knows that. If you meet me, I'm willing to JV, which is a joint venture. If you meet me, I'm willing to flip with you and split the profit. It doesn't matter to me as long as I can get to do more and more flips. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is mindset. You do not need money to start investing in real estate. Okay. That is a common myth that I've heard a lot of people talk about. Oh, I don't have the money to start investing in real estate. That's almost the last thing you need. The first thing you need is the knowledge. The second thing you need is the relationship. Third thing you need is the time. And the most important thing about this whole thing is you don't need all three of those things. You need typically one or two of them. If you don't have the money, then do you have the knowledge and the time? If you don't have the time, do you have the knowledge and the money? If you don't have the knowledge, then you either have the time or the money. But you can even make this work if you have just one of them. But you can't you can't say, oh, I'm not bringing anything to the table and then expect a lot of things. For those of you that are joining in, just say hi in the chat so I know that you're active and you can see this. Just say hi in the chat so I know that you're active and you can see this. But like I said, one of the most common misconception is that you need money to do this thing. But I've proved it over time and time again that I don't need to come out of pocket to cover my flips, and it's played out like that in my reality so many times. Real estate is a value exchange game. The sooner you start thinking of real estate as a value exchange, the faster you can grow your asset and you can start getting more active in this industry. It's all about value exchange. Okay. What type of value are you bringing to the table? Are you bringing money? Are you bringing the hard work? Are you bringing the credits? Are you bringing the relationships? What are you bringing to the table? Because you have to find which one you're bringing to the table and then take it and leverage it with somebody else. That's literally the game. If you don't have anything to bring to the table, then you can't expect to collect or eat out of that table. It's just not possible. So the thing that I got good at since I didn't have the money was that I had to get good at bringing value of some kind. I had to grow my network. I had to grow my relationships. Okay. So what value are you bringing to the table? That's an important thing you need to know. And then I'm going to cover some different types of values that you can bring to the table. But once you determine your value, you're one step closer to building your network and experience and the amount of money you need to achieve your goals. Also, the action plan. So next thing I want you guys to do, please, if you can write this down, if you have a journal out there, just write this down. You want to set a goal and make a plan, because this will help you decide everything else. What's your plan? Do you plan on, is your end goal rental portfolio? Is your end goal to just build, I want to make 5,000 extra every month? What is your end goal? Once you decide that and you put that in writing, now you can plan how you want to achieve that goal. You can walk your way backwards. Okay, you always want to have the end in sight before you take any action. Okay, so what do you have to bring to the table? Also, figure that out. What do you bring? What's my value exchange? Even if you have the money, that's the most important thing. Even if you have the money, money doesn't have to be what you're bringing to the table. Okay, if you know, hey, this money is very important to me, I need to invest it in XYZ, don't use that money then. Because at the end of the day, this is investment and you don't want to invest any money you're not willing to lose. Okay. And then you want to figure out how much time you have available. Because guess what? If you are like me 3 years ago, I mean, a year ago, really, and you don't have the money to put into real estate, then make sure you have enough time. Because guess what? I mean, everybody says it. Time is what? Time is money. So if you don't have the money, make sure you have the time available because both of them are used interchangeably. Okay. And then your network is the ultimate leverage. Guys, I cannot do anything I've done last year without having the right network around me. People that I learn from, people that I look up to, the right contractors, the right people to bring me those deals. Because I don't know if I told you guys, but none of those deals I found by myself. Okay. These are people that I have in my network that came and told me, hey, Femi, this is a really good deal. This is how much it is. This is how much it could be worth. I ran my own numbers and I saw, oh, yeah, this is actually good deals. So make sure you have any one of those three, okay? And then take advantage of this. Oh, sorry, skip back. Yeah, and then network is the ultimate leverage. And then you take advantage of this time to start planning how you can start buying rental assets, okay? Since I've been able to do this flips now I have kind of like a framework in my head. I know if I do 4 flips, let me try and buy 1 asset for myself. But guess what? You're leveraging, you're doing all of this with no money. No money. Case study number 1, okay? 101 Greenbrier. This is my first flip, guys. I tried to put, I'm not really good at slides. I tried to put the pictures up here, but one thing I can do, I can add the link in the chat below. So I'll add some of them. Let me get the link here. Let me try and open this. Give me 1 second, guys. I want so you guys can maybe open it on your free time and really go through this. And you guys don't think like, Femi is lying or anything like that. I'll give you guys the link so that you can go through this in your spare time and see some of the flips that I did. Here it is in the chat. Yeah, I put it in the chat. So if you're watching again on Instagram, make sure you go back to the slide and come on here so you can get this links and access to whatever I'm showing. 101 Greenbrier. This was my very first flip. And how did I buy this? I bought this leveraging partnership. Back in 2021, ending of 2021, I made a decision to myself. I said, I'm going to flip a house. Okay. I don't care how, but I'm going to make sure I flip a property. Okay. And quite almost what I say is God, or, I don't know if you guys believe in God, but I do. And God made it so. Okay. And almost immediately, like 2 weeks later, my friend brought me a deal in Euclid, Ohio. And I put the link in there. You guys can check out 101 Greenbrier. You see the before and the after pictures. This property, I bought it and she was selling it for 50,000. Okay. We bought this property for 50,000. When I ran the numbers, I saw that if I fixed it up at that time, it was going to be worth about 130,000, 150,000, roughly between that range, depending on the finishes that I did. But as you guys know, I don't have 50,000 to spend. Neither do I have the money to repair the property. So what did I do? I had to go out there into my network and I found somebody who had what I was lacking. I knew as far as the team, I had that. As far as the knowledge, I had that because I'd been doing project management for other people. So I knew, what do I have to do? I had to find somebody who had the money to do this deal with them. So I brought a friend of mine. He put the 50,000. Actually, he didn't put the $50,000 up. He was able to leverage his credit. So we went to a bank that was able to finance about 80% of our purchase price and 100% of the rehab. So they gave us some money to buy the property and also some money to actually put into the repairs. And he brought the remaining money that we had to put down, which about 20,000 of $50,000. So he brought that piece to the table. Now, that 20,000, the cool thing about it was he didn't even have to bring that out of his pocket. This was where I was expanding my knowledge. This is why I tell you guys, your network is going to be what is extremely important. The 20% down that he had to put didn't come out of his pocket. It came out from a network of his who lended us the 20% that we put together with the bank's money, and we bought this property. Long story short, we bought this property for 50,000. We put about 50,000 or 55,000 into the property. We're expecting to only spend about 45, but a contractor ran away with some of our money, so we had to put some more to the table. But we're all in for extra 55,000 together with some other costs and closing fees and paying the realtors, or I mean paying lenders costs, title costs, all of that stuff. We ended up making a net profit of about, I think, 40,000, 38 to $40,000. And I and my partner walked away. That's after paying back the bank. We paid the bank back the money they gave us for the rehab. We paid them back the money they gave us for the purchase price. We paid my friend's investor that put the 20% down his money back, and also give him some interest. So you see how many people had to make money off of this deal before we even got paid. We paid the title company, we paid the investor who put the 20% down, we paid the bank back their money. All of these people had to pay back before we were able to make a profit for ourselves. And now guess what? All I had to do was be the one putting in the time and the effort to making sure this deal worked. And we walked away with about 40,000 in gross profit, and we split it equally. We walked away with $20,000 each. That was my first deal, and that blew my head. I was like, yo, as a Nigerian guy, trust me, I was about to go crazy on this one. I said, you know what? This is a way that I can go around town. As long as I can find great deals, I can find people that have access to money, not even people that have money, but people that have access to money, and I can start putting this together. And guess what, guys? I mean, I don't know if you've met me in real life, but I don't know how to do drywall or hit things on the wall. So I had to hire a very good crew. So really, you're getting paid to be the brains behind everything. Okay? You're finding the right people and you're just bringing everybody together and you're getting paid. Okay? This is why network is the ultimate leverage. The people you have in your circle, the people you have access to, is your ultimate leverage. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about this? I don't want to go too forward. You can hit the Q&A section and leave any questions that you have, or you can just type it up here in the chat. Does anybody understand that? Or does anybody have any question about this before I move on to the next case study? Anybody have any questions? Everybody understands. If you understand, just put a thumbs up and I can move on to the next case study. No question. No question. Okay, so perfect. That was the first strategy I utilized, partnership. Okay, so that's the leverage of partnership, but then you're splitting 50% of your profit. So prepare for that in mind. Make sure it's sizable enough so it's worth both of your time. Okay, but moving on to the next case study. 101 Greenbrier was the first one. The next one was 2817 Meriwether Street. Okay, this one, actually, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have done this deal. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't have done this deal. It was far out, which is something important that you have to know. You have to know your location. Okay, where are you buying properties in? Do you really understand what you're buying? But I did my first flip, and like I told you guys, I was excited. I was like, okay, I'm ready to do my next project. Who else has money? Let's go, let's go. But what I want to show you guys here in this deal in particular is the strategy that I used. Before I go forward, Mo asked here in the questions, how do you advise getting into rehab? Did you watch the contractors while they worked? No. Your time is really spent in pre-vetting people. Okay, these are contractors that, like I said, I had done other project management for other people. So I had gotten the skill of knowing what good work looks like. Okay, so that's the important thing. Get the knowledge first. I was able to practice with other investors' deals and be their project manager just so I can know, okay, how does this deal meant to be structured? What does good drywall look like? What does good flooring look like? And really, I mean, we've all lived in properties before, so we know what these things look like. So I made sure I hired the right people so that I don't have to sit there all day watching them rehab a property. Okay. So make sure you find these people. You make sure you vet them. How do you vet them? If it's a good contractors, they have other active projects. Okay. Go to their projects. Make sure you walk the projects and you're asking them questions. Hey, what about this? How much is this? How much is that? When you do this for several people, you start knowing what price point things should be priced at. And also by walking the projects, you're seeing what they're doing to other people's jobs, so you can decide if you want them to do it to your job as well. Okay. So Mo, yeah, no, I didn't sit there watching them while they worked. I just made sure I hired the right people. But like I said, the first set of people that I hired, they started doing a good job, but somewhere in the middle, they started messing things up, which cost us more money, cost us more time. But yeah, that's where it goes back to making sure you find the right team. If you have the right team around you, you wouldn't have to worry about that. But yeah, that's how you go about rehabbing. Just make sure you're finding the right people around you. Yeah, 2817 Meriwether. How I bought this one, like I said, guys, I'd done the first flip where I partnered up with a friend of mine. But now I realize, like, oh, this guy didn't even bring the 20% that we needed down. He went to somebody else to give him that 20% down. So I mean, what do I do as a sharp guy? I go look for somebody else who has the money to actually put into the deal. Because now this time I don't have to split whatever I have left off as profit. All he did was he paid somebody a return on their investment. And if you think about it, guys, you guys probably have somebody in your circle that's making six figures or has a huge savings. And if you don't know, then just start talking to people, because God knows how many millionaires you walk by every day on the road. There's so many people that you walk by every day and you don't know they have money or access to money, and you just walk by them. You don't tell them about your dreams. You don't tell them about your goals. You don't speak it into existence. That's what I got good at. I told every single person that walked around me. I put it on my Instagram. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you see it on my bio, you see it everywhere. It's not because I want to show off. It's not because of I want to just flex or just post it out there for posting's sake. No, it's my, if I don't promote myself, who will promote me? So talk to people, tell people about what you're trying to do. Hey guys, I'm doing real estate. I'm trying to get started flipping. I'd love for us to do some projects together. But the only way they can trust you with their money is what? If you have something of value. What can you have of value that you don't have to pay money for is your knowledge. As long as you know how to find good deals, as long as you know how to manage these projects, you can meet somebody else who has the money to put into your deal. And that's what I did here in 2817 Meriwether. You guys can Google it. We actually just sold this deal like yesterday as well. Yesterday was a great day for me overall. Yesterday we were able to get this thing finally sold. Seller signed, everything is signed, sealed, and delivered. It took me a long while to rehab this project because I messed up at one part. I didn't have the right team around me. Okay, the same guys that I gave the contract to on Greenbrier that started well and ended bad were the same people I wanted to use on this project as well. But guess what? They screwed me as well. So while I was firing them there, I was firing them from this other project, but I already purchased it. And I found somebody. Basically, I bought this property for about 29,000. My goal was to put about 30 to 35,000 into it and sell it for about 90 to 95,000. I found an investor that had money in his account that he wasn't planning on using for the time being. He was like, hey, I can throw it into your project. And I paid him a 15% return on his money. Guys, you have people that have money and it's just sitting out in their bank. But guess what? The bank is not going to pay you more than 0.01% every year. You can be that person that's helping them earn money. And that's why I said, guys, you have to be willing to break bread. The investor knew, like, well, it's guaranteed by a property, a real asset. He could drive down to this address every day and see his money. So it wasn't like he was putting his money in the stock market where it's just numbers on the phone going up and down. This is like active, like he can see his money live. He can Google the address. He can see what I'm doing with the property anytime he chose to. So this is why he was willing to give me the money. And otherwise, it would have just been sitting out in his account and he wouldn't be earning any interest. So since he put it into my pocket, I told him I'll give him a 15% APR, which is an annual return on his money. So he was going to earn $9,000, roughly about $9,000 every year that his money was with me. But look at the leverage on my side, though. Now I have access to $60,000 for only $9,000. And guess what? I didn't have to pay that $9,000 up front or anything. It's going to be paid on the back end once we sell the property. So you see, everything is just network, it's leverage, it's finding the right people and just joining it together. So he gave me 60,000. I purchased the property. We're expecting to put only about 30,000, but man, there were so many stories. That's another topic for another day. But that's how I financed this property. Inspection was paid for. Everything was paid for out of this money. Rehab was done. And then we sold the property right now for about $85,000. And I'm going to pay him back his 60 plus an extra $9,000. So he just got $9,000 for just basically sending his money to go work for him. So you might be on this live, or you might be watching this recorded, or you might be on the webinar and you're wondering like, okay, well, I also have $20,000 in my account. Well, you could have been the investor on my first project. I think he put down the total about 25,000 because that was his total amount that we needed from him for the 20% down and some other fees. You might only have 10,000, but you can have another friend who has 10,000. You guys come together and put that as 20% down and find a bank that can give you 80% of the purchase and 100% of the rehab. As long as you're not thinking so little and putting mental blocks around you to where you feel like you can't do this deal, guys, you can go out and do a lot of projects. And if you're like me, that you didn't even have any of that, then you can also find people who have this and leverage it into your deals. But that's how I financed 2817 Meriwether Street, found an investor, and he's getting paid out. And that's how I was able to do this second flip. Mo asked, do you do the flip comps like the wholesale comps in terms of ARV? I'll break this. Comps means comparative. So if in the flipping game, how you're running your numbers is you're finding comparables around you. What are comparables? This is similar houses around you, typically half of a mile or a mile radius around you that you're looking at and seeing, okay, well, this property looks like my property and it sold for 90,000. Okay, I put that to the side. This is another property that looks like my property sold for 95,000. This is another property that sold for 87,000. Now I look at it and I see, okay, well, is this in the same similar condition as I plan on rehabbing my property? Or what condition is it? If all of those properties were completely fixed up and they sold for that price, then I know my ARV is between $87,000 to $90,000. Now I know that this is what, if I do the same thing, this is how much I can sell my house for. I just wanted to break everything down for everybody, Mo. And now that becomes what my after repair value. That means after I repair it, this is the value of my house. And you find that by what? By finding the comparables around you, houses that can be compared to your own house when you're done with your rehab. Basically, yeah. So your question was, do you flip comps? Do you do the flip comps like the wholesale comps in terms of ARV? Yes. When you're running ARV is ran one particular way. You can get more conservative, you can get more expanded depending on what area that you're in, but it's ran the same way. For wholesaling, you're typically trying to find this ARV for other flippers. So that's an important thing to mention. Like my friend that sold me the 101 Greenbrier, she had ran her comps and found that the house is worth about 120 to 150. So she knew that if anybody's putting about 30,000 into the property, they need to buy it roughly for 50,000 so they can make a profit. So these are people that are going out there, they're finding deals. Like I told you guys, I don't spend any money on marketing. So she sold me the house for 50. I put some money into it and I sold it for what I sold it for. I sold it for 175. So we beat the comps that we thought we even had around us. But yeah, Mo, the comps are ran the same way. If you decide to wholesale, wholesaling is just an exit strategy. Just as I'm deciding to fix up the property and sell it, that's an exit strategy. The same way wholesaling is also an exit strategy. I can decide, hey, this is a great deal, but it's not a great deal for me. I'm not going to make a lot of money off of this deal. And I can decide to sell it to another investor. I can sell my rights on that contract to another investor. And that's what a wholesale is typically. You're just flipping paper. In one situation, you're flipping actual houses. In another situation, you're flipping a paper. But the only thing about wholesaling is that you have to find a deeper discount. You have to, because if anybody can buy if a flipper needs to buy for 50, that means I have to buy it for less than 50,000. I have to get it under contract for less than 50,000 for me to make a profit. That was a great question, Mo. But yeah, the same way. If anybody else has any question, make sure you put it in the comments somewhere, and I will get to it. Next problem, case study 1238 West 24th Street. This one is it's a little bit advanced strategy. I don't recommend you getting into it. This is your first time flipping. It's a little bit advanced, but if you also understand it and you're daring like me, you'll do it as one of your first few flips. But this one was called a novation strategy. Again, the pictures are all in my link. My link is up here in the webinar, so you can click on it and you can look through 1238 West 24th Street. This property was bought a different way because I didn't partner. I did a hybrid of a little bit of every strategy. But one key important thing, I partnered with the seller. I know you might be asking your mind. I don't know, I'm not in your mind, but you might be asking your mind, how do you partner with the seller? Well, I partnered with the seller because I told the seller, okay, if I have to buy this property cash from you, I have to buy for about 50, 55,000, max 60,000. But the seller needed about $68,000 for it to make sense for them because they had a mortgage they wanted to pay off. That means they had some loan on the property they wanted to pay it off. They didn't want to have to write a check to the title company. So I said, you know what? The only way I can buy this property this way that you're describing is if you would let me come into your house. I bring my guys, they'll come do the work. I will use my money to actually fix up your house. I will pay any expenses that the house is occurring. That means your mortgage fee, your utilities, everything. It's going to feel like you sold the house already. Okay. The only thing is that it will still be in your name. So I'm not giving you that 68,000 just yet. But once I fix everything up, your property is going to be worth a lot more than it is right now. And I will sell it. And from that proceed, I will pay you the 68,000. Does anybody have any questions? I feel like I broke that down very well. This is the first time I've actually broken that down very well. But if you have any question, leave it in the chat and I'll answer it. But yeah, that was what I was able to do for my next strategy. I was able to buy the property, but put it in escrow. That means the title company, they ran the due diligence. They saw like, okay, apart from this mortgage, there's nothing else that is owed on the property, so you're all good. I came in with the money needed to fix up the house, which was about 28,000. I was actually budgeting about 15,000, but yeah, $28,000. I fixed up the property and then I sold it. When I sold it, we sold it for $135,000. When we sold it for $135,000, I paid the seller the 68. Well, paid the mortgage company the 68,000. Paid my realtor. My realtor made about 8,000 ish. I reimbursed myself for the 28,000 that I spent on the property. And then the rest of it was my profit. I made about $28,000 off of that property. Mo asked, was it owner occupied while rehabbing it? No, they had a secondary house that they were living in. This was a secondary property of theirs. So they weren't really in a rush to sell the house. That was the key thing here. That's where you use this strategy. If the seller is just like, hey, I have a certain price point in my mind, I'm not selling it below this certain number, but I also don't have rush to sell it, because the key thing when you're doing the wholesaling is like you want the person this. It's all about speed. But in this situation, the seller was like, hey, I could care less if it sits for a month or 2 months or 3 months. I just need to make sure I make 68,000 at the very least. I'm like, hey, I got you. I need about a month or 2 months to fix this house as well. So why not? Let's work together. I make sure you make the certain amount that you need, and then I'll make sure to put the money and rehab it for an amount that we can all make some money. And they were down. Ebony asked, what do we have in place in case the seller changes their mind? What agreements? That's a very great question. Most of this, you see, so everything really in this real estate world is contracts and the people you know. I had my transaction coordinator figure out what documents I need. First of all, I put a lien on the house for how much I needed to fix the property for. So I was going to put about 28,000. So the title company filed a lien of 28,000 on the property. So for whatsoever reason, if the seller decided, hey, I'm going to take this house now that Femi has fixed it and sold it, they would have seen me appearing there on the title. Hey, I put a lien on this house. And the lien is just something you record on the deed. While the person is selling it, they'll see that they owe this amount and it's been tied to this property. So they could have never sold that property without paying me my 28. But what else? I also put a limited power of attorney. This meant depending on who I'm selling the house to, I can sign off on the documents. They don't even need to call the seller. They'll deal with me directly. So the seller doesn't even need to know when I'm done with the house. They'll just know like, oh shit, the thing is paid off. So that was another thing that I filed on the property. Another thing that you want to file on the property is it's called a notice of interest. You file it with a title company. This means that anybody that's coming to buy the house, the title company will see like, hey, these people are in contract with Femi to buy the house. So we can't sell it to you until you guys call Femi first. Okay, guys, I'm putting 28,000 into this property. I have to cover my ass. Okay, so I made sure I put that. So whatever time they decided to sell the house, even if they decided not to let me sell it, they would have to call me first. And guess what? Now that they're in breach of contract, I'm going to request whatever I feel like to be paid off, so I can release my cloud on the title. It's called you cloud the title. So that means nobody has access to the title of that property until they deal with you. Ebony asks, who are some good people to ask for rehab funds and what return should we give? That's a great question. I don't know if you guys were wondering it, but I was mentioning I've been flipping with no money out of my pocket. So how did I get that 28,000? Same thing I did on my previous flips. I went to somebody who had 28,000. And the most interesting thing of this was like the person wasn't even in the US. Okay. This was somebody foreign that didn't even have an idea of what is going on, but they had 28,000 they were willing to invest. They gave it to me. I gave them a 12% return on their money. No, actually, it was just a flat fee return because I expected to be in and out of the property. I just gave them a flat fee. I said, if you give me 28,000, I'll give you an extra 4,000 when I'm done with this project. So really, the return that you give is really dependent on you and your confidence on your ask. The person was like, it's a no-brainer. I give you 28,000 for 1 month, and then you return it back with 4,000 more. Sign me up. Let me send you the money. Where's the wiring account? But I had a good relationship with this. Actually, no, I didn't even have the direct relationship. I had a friend refer me to this person. So, guys, your network, everybody needs to know that this is what you want to do. So my friend knew this is what I want to do. I told him about the project. He was like, hey, I think I know somebody that might have this money. He's planning on using it to buy a car, I think. But you know what? We'll put it into here so that you can bring 4,000 more with the money you gave us. I said, what's the minimum? Ebony also asked, what's the minimum you would say that people usually say yes? I've seen some guys do as low as 6% return. These are typically people that are doing larger numbers. They're doing a lot of flips. So they're able to command that low of a return. But typical, I see about 8 to 12% as the typical average in the industry. Mo said, how did you put yourself in a position to manage other investors' projects? Networking, bro. It's simply networking. It sounds very basic, but it's simply networking. I went in Facebook groups. I had friends that knew other investors. These investors have a need. You're solving a problem, okay? So as long as you think about it as I'm solving a problem and I'm not asking for an opportunity. An investor is investing all the way from California and Cleveland. There is no way they can manage your project by themselves. So they have to build a solid team. If you show them you're willing to work, if you show them you're willing to go out there and hustle and find the right people to help them do their project, they're willing to do it with you. So that's what I just did. I told a lot of investors, a bunch of investors, hey, this is what I can do. I'm local in Cleveland. I can manage your flips for you. As long as I told them that they were willing to finance the project, they were willing to give me an opportunity to manage their own project. Once I did a great job with the first one, it becomes repetitive. But I had to exit out of that because I wanted to start doing my own thing. So that's how you do it more. Go into Facebook groups, talk to a lot of people, tell them about what you want to do, and somebody's going to give you the opportunity. Okay? You have to be prepared for your opportunity. You have to, exactly like Ebony said in the chat, you have to connect with other wholesalers. They have buyers and see if the buyers need a boots on the ground. So if your buyers need somebody on the ground to do the things that they need to get done, that's an opportunity. That's an in. And once you're in there, really the sky's the limit. So the power of financing. I've just put this chat here to really show like what the power of leverage is. So let's say you have a properties that are all going to be worth $100,000 typically in the US here. I don't know about where anybody else is staying, but typically here in the US, to buy $100,000 property, you only need about $20,000 from your own pocket. And same thing goes to flip. For you to flip a property and sell it for 50,000, you don't need the whole 150 out of your pocket. You need a small amount of percentage. And now imagine I had 100,000 and how I wanted to invest it. I'll go to banks that will give me that 80% and 100% of my rehab, and I'll put $20,000 down on all of those properties. And now I'm able to flip 5 at a time. But of course, please do this at your own discretion. Jussie asked, do banks give direct loans for flipping in case you don't have connections with large capital? Yes, the bank will give you a loan based off of 2 things. In the investment side of things, if you go to asset-based lenders, are what they're called. Asset-based lenders look at the properties primarily. So as long as you find a very good deal and you have some capital to put down, of course, they will give you the loan. The other criteria that you have to meet are things like your credit. They have to see that you're good at repaying the loan. They're not going to use it to qualify you, but they're going to use it to make sure that you can pay them back their money because they don't want to risk their money with you. But yes, they can give you that loan directly. You don't necessarily have to have a large connection. Okay? And even if you don't have the credits, you can bring somebody else that has great credits. You have the money to put down and you guys partner together. It's all about leverage. Partner with them, have them in your LLC. You guys go apply together. They'll use your credit and they'll use your money that you're putting down, and the bank will give you the rest of the money. Okay, it's just about thinking creatively. Just think creatively. But that's the power of leveraging. Types of other people's money. Okay. Traditional financing, this is typical financing from the bank, FHA, conventional 2 or 3K loan. If you have a good paying job, a 2 or 3K loan might be a very great loan for you. So imagine you have a loan, you get a loan that the 2 or 3K loan will give you the purchase and the rehab. They'll give you both of that so that you can put towards the property. But you only have to put 3.5% down to 5% down. So it's like a typical FHA loan, but the only thing is that they give you the rehab funding as well. Asset-based lending or hard money lenders, bridge loan. Bridge loan is basically they're giving you the money to fix it up. Once you fix it up, you either have to sell it to another person or find a different bank that's going to refinance that loan. That means they'll look at the value of the property now and they'll give you about 70% of that value as a new loan. So you can pay the other people off and then you can still keep the property. Relationship-based financing, this is my favorite. This is the one I use. This is where you find private lenders, individuals that have money or access to money, and you leverage them. Owner financing, this is another one. This is where you tell the seller to finance the property for you. So the seller is going to sell the property to you at, let's say, 100,000. You're only going to put like 5. Some people I know personally, even I put 0 down, and you're just paying them gradually over months. Other places are like your lines of credit, home equity loans. So if you have a property that's worth a lot more and you have a little bit of equity in it, you can use it towards that. And then retirement accounts. If you have a stable job right now and you've been contributing to your 401k, your Roth IRA, you and a friend can partner up and you can loan money out of your 401k towards your rehab. So don't think about only what you have in your current bank account. Think about all the places money could possibly be in. Could you get from the current house that you have? Can you get a line of credit? Do you have a credit card? Do you have banks a line of a loan from the bank? Can you get an individual that has money? Think more broadly and you'll be able to find ways that you can get capital. This is some other rockstar team. You guys take a screenshot, take a picture of this. Property management, project management. You need a GC, a lender, inspector, title company, attorney, transaction coordinator. These are people that you need to build relationships with because they either know people that have access to money, they know people that have good deals, or they're important people that we would need when purchasing or rehabbing your property. So take a screenshot of this. This is your rockstar team. Once you have these people, it's very hard for you to start going wrong in real estate. Deals. These are the 3 different structures that I spoke about. You know, the partnership model where somebody brings the money, you bring the resources, and you split the profit 50-50. Private money. This is these are people that have money and you pay them a return on their money, or you can use a combination of all of those to structure your deal. Q&A. If you guys are not following me, follow me on Facebook, Femi Daniel. Follow me on Instagram at femi.daniel_. But Mo has a question. So you guys, this is the time for you to put in your questions. We have about 7 minutes before I round this up. But Mo asked, how do you determine zip codes to invest in? Zip codes to invest in, you're really typically looking at areas around you. You want to have on-ground knowledge about that particular area. Okay. So how I personally did it, well, I'm local here in Cleveland, so I see the areas that are good. I want to see areas that have appreciation, okay? So what was the value before? What's the value right now? That's what I'm looking at, okay? So you're looking for areas that have appreciation because that's what you're banking on when you're flipping. Agents can help, exactly like Femi mentioned. Go speak to an agent that's local in that area and just tell them, hey, I'm looking at good areas that I can buy properties in. What are areas that you can recommend? You know, so property managers, like Cash said, you see, guys, property managers are managing properties for other investors so they can tell you properties that are available. But the main thing here at the end of the day is you want to know areas that are also good as well. You want to have local knowledge. So that's where your boots on the ground, like Ebony had mentioned before, will tell you about those areas. Hey, I'm thinking about buying this house in XYZ zip code. What do you think? Oh no, this area is it's the hood. It's bad. The properties don't appreciate. Nobody wants to live there. Also, you want to look at the good school zones in that particular city. What are the Class A schools? What are the Class B schools in that area? That's what the areas that you typically want to be flipping in because why? Families want to move to that area. Okay, so you want to go where the population is moving. If you see that, okay, The families are moving to this particular area because the school is good. It's a safe neighborhood. That's an area you want to flip in. If you see people are moving out of that area, or people don't even want to drive through that area, then you shouldn't be flipping in that area. Also, you want to look at the median income. Okay, this is simple things that you can Google. What is the median income in XYZ zip code? Or in Ohio, the top zip codes with the highest median income in XYZ city. It's gonna populate a list for you. Those are areas you should start looking into for flipping. Okay, so guys, I don't know if anybody else has any question. Like Cass said, walk the neighborhood. If you're local, drive around. You know the areas that you want to move into, then those are areas that you should be flipping into as well. Victor said, listening from Nige, application might not be feasible here. Actually, you're wrong. Like I said, in one of my flips, somebody from Nigeria financed that flip for me. So if you're foreign and you're looking to invest here, then find somebody that you can partner with. As long as you can find somebody that is on ground here, you can do a deal from all over the world. Half of my clientele list are not from the USA, actually. I have people from Israel, Chile, a bunch of places. Ebony asks, can you repeat the return that you should give? Yes, about 12%, 8 to 12% is pretty standard. If you can give that return, then you can find a lot of people that are willing to finance your deal. 8 to 12% is just going to depend on the area. I brought a special guest on here. I wanted to bring one of my friends on here to come on here and present as well, but I ran out of time on here. Jussie asks, what is the fastest flipping you've done? That was my Lorraine deal. I think we did that in 1.5 months. Yeah, that was the fastest one I've done. But I have some other people that have done deals in like a month, 2 weeks or less. It just depends on the area and the amount of work that is needed. But guys, I'm definitely looking forward to you. I'm going to be sending some more information over to you guys. But also what I wanted to do is I wanted to leave this link down below for you guys. I'm going to be launching my community. It's called the Strategic Partners Community. Okay, this community, I'm going to be sharing exactly how I'm doing this or the different skills that I have learned for myself as well that enables me to be able to do this. If you click on this link and you register and you join the wait list, then you'll be able to fill up a form where I'm going to collect more information from you guys. So click on this link. Also, people, I'm going to be doing more of this on Instagram. Make sure you guys join on there so you can ask me any question. Follow me on Instagram. Ask any questions you want as well. And yeah, I would love to answer any question. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. I'd have loved to keep going and answering more questions that you guys have. But I want to hear from you guys too before the time runs out here. We have about 3 minutes left. What is the fastest flipping that you've no, sorry. Cash asks people to put their investment goals in the chat. So yes, please, what are your investment goals? I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys want to flip like me? Do you guys want to have rental properties? What would you like to do before we finish up here? I'd love to know how I can work with each and every one of you. You guys can give me a follow also as well and tell me about your goals. Let's see how we can do business together. That's what I'm looking forward to. Cash said to own multi-family properties. And Cash, you're very much well on your way. I and Cash are working on a couple of deals here, trying to buy some apartment buildings here in Cleveland. Cash also said to manage people's money. You can do exactly what I and Cash are doing. We're leveraging other relationships we have around us, raising money from those people and putting it and helping them invest it. So that's something else you can do too. You can be like me. For me, Femi, I'll say flipping for Femi. I want to flip a bunch of properties, and I also want to own multifamily properties like Cass said. Ebony mentioned $100,000 a month through contracting and Airbnb. Okay, so guys, this is very possible. Ebony is she runs a great contractor team, and she's looking forward to making $100K a month. This is very, very achievable. Very, very achievable. All right, guys, we're about to round up here. Thank you guys so much for joining in. It was absolutely wonderful. I'm going to be doing some more here, some more of this live. So I'm looking forward to the next one so you guys can learn. I'm going to be recording this and be sending it out back to you guys so you guys can watch back on this. And hopefully, yeah, we can do some business together. But I absolutely appreciate you guys spending your Saturday evening with me. And yeah, I'll catch you guys soon. So peace. You guys have a good one, okay? Uh,